So I mentioned before that my dad was a vegan for, I would say, about 2 years, maybe 7 years ago. And he went back to eating meat because, well, one, he never met any other vegans. And two, other than knowing that a vegan doesn't eat animal products, he didn't have like, he genuinely thought that he could wake up some morning and be told that he had some like weird illness because you're supposed to eat meat or you're supposed to eat dairy products. He really did just grow up with the mentality that you need to eat meat to survive, and yeah, he went back to eating meat for that reason. And he asked me, what would I do if my husband, Dan, went back to eating meat? You know, if he said, look, you know what, Catherine, I don't want to be a vegan, I want to eat meat again. And I think, you know, in the situation of if somebody just said, I'm going to go on a vegan diet for a week or 2 weeks or a month or whatever, and they did that and then they went back to eating meat afterwards, I don't agree with it, but I can understand it. But it's not until that person has made those connections, do you know, when that person has actually said, okay, right, so eating meat, where is this meat coming from? It's an animal. It was alive once. It had to be killed. It had to be bred. Its mother had to be artificially inseminated so it could be bred. Where is all this land coming from? You know, half the, like so much of the planet, I imagine more than half the planet, is being used for farming. And what about all these health issues? When the person has made all those connections and really understands what they're saying is okay by consuming meat, by buying it, what they're basically promoting. Once a person understands all those things and is remained vegan for a couple of months or a couple of weeks or whatever, and yet they make the choice to go back to eating meat because why? It's going to be because they like the taste of it. You know, that's what I see anyway. It's going to be because it's easier for them, because going to that restaurant with their mates, they like to order that particular dish and they miss it and it's just easier. And I get that. You know, I mean, I used to love going to this restaurant with my husband, and I used to get salmon and I used to think it was delicious. And, you know, living here in Portugal, there's a lot of fresh fish and I loved fish, loved the taste of it. And I don't deny that it doesn't taste good. You know, I don't deny that for the second when it's in my mouth that it's not like, yo, yummy. But I don't see just that anymore. It's not just the taste. It's the... I know that this animal was swimming around, and when it died, it must have been horrendous. You know, it obviously, it must be what it feels like us to drown to death. Like, you know, it just can't catch its breath. It's just choking and choking. And then I think about the sea and all the people and all the fucking fishermen in the sea, and it's just bigger than that. My want to taste a piece of salmon is just not enough. And that's how I would feel if Dan decided to go back to eating meat. I'm not saying if he didn't make a mistake, because people make fucking mistakes. Sometimes he gets a croissant and he forgets that there's he forgets, he doesn't realize that croissants are not vegan or something like that. Like that, fine, grand. But if you go back to eating it because they like the taste, it's just not enough. It's not enough. We cannot constantly make decisions based on that second enjoyment, that, you know, that rush that we get, you know, because it's so much bigger than that. You know, the picture is so much bigger than that. And yeah, that's my take on it. You know, I mean, if somebody went back to eating meat after making those connections, after really understanding why people are so passionate about veganism and why people are vegan, and why the vegan message needs to be spread. If you really understand that and you go back to eating meat, then you're just a selfish motherfucker. And Dan's never going to do that because he's not that way. That's not his personality. And if he did do that, then yeah, I guess, like, you know, I mean, he's not the human that I thought he was, so I couldn't stay with somebody like that. But yeah, that's my take on it. I don't know, you can agree or disagree. So thanks for watching. Ate logo.